I was 8 when I first heard the breathing. It came from the vent in my bedroom wall, soft and shallow, like someone asleep on the other side. But that wall backed onto the hallway. There was no room there, only plaster and pipes. I told my parents. They said it was the wind, but the wind doesn't breathe. The house was built in 1912, a pale blue colonial with a sagging porch and a cellar that always smelled like wet stone. We moved in during the fall of 1993, just before the rains came. The realtor said it had character. My mother said it had bones. My father said it was cheap. The first week, the dog wouldn't go upstairs. He'd sit at the bottom step, ears flat, growling low at nothing. We thought it was nerves. He was dead by Christmas. The second week, the lights began to flicker. Not all at once. Just the hallway, then the kitchen, then the attic. The electrician said the wiring was fine. He didn't come back after the attic. There was a stain on the ceiling of my room just above my bed. It was shaped like a handprint. We painted over it. It came back. We painted again. It came back darker. One night I woke up to find my closet door open. I always kept it closed. Inside, the clothes were swaying as if someone had just brushed past them. The air smelled like soil. I asked my sister if she'd been in my room. She said no. She said she'd heard someone walking in the hallway at night, but when she looked, no one was there. She stopped sleeping with her door open. In January, my mother found a photograph in the attic. It was old, black and white, showing a family standing in front of the house. The faces were scratched out. On the back, someone had written, "We never left." She burned it in the fireplace. The smoke was thick and black, and it smelled like burning hair. After that, things got worse. The temperature inside the house dropped without warning. Sometimes it was warmer outside during blizzards. My breath would fog up in the hallway, and the windows would sweat from the inside. I would wake up and find frost patterns curling across my bedroom mirror, spirals like fingerprints dragging slowly down the glass. Then the knocking started, always 3 knocks, slow, heavy. They came from inside the walls. Sometimes I would hear a 4th knock. It always happened after someone said my name. Once in March, my sister screamed from the bathroom. When we got there, she was in the tub, shaking. The mirror was fogged. Someone had written, "Get out," with a wet finger. No one believed her. Not really. But we started using the downstairs bathroom more. On Easter Sunday, we found a dead bird on the kitchen table. No windows were open, no doors, just the bird lying there, wings splayed, eyes gone. My father said a cat must have brought it in, but we didn't own a cat. We never had. That night, I saw someone standing at the edge of my bed. They were tall, too tall. Their head scraped the ceiling, neck bent sideways like it was broken. I couldn't see their face, just darkness where a face should be. I couldn't move, couldn't scream. They stood there for hours. When I woke up, there were scratches on the inside of my closet door. In June, the basement door started opening on its own. We'd hear the click, the slow creak, then the thump of footsteps climbing halfway up and stopping. They never came all the way. I stopped going near the basement. One morning, I found muddy footprints in the living room, barefoot, too small to be my father's, too wide to be mine. They led from the front door to the cellar. That night, something whispered in my ear while I slept. I couldn't understand the words, but they were close, right against my skin. By July, my mother stopped sleeping. She sat at the kitchen table all night, staring at the window. "There's a girl in the yard," she said once. "She's digging." We looked. There was no one there, just a hole in the garden that hadn't been there the night before. We filled it in. The next day, it was dug out again, deeper. In August, my sister stopped speaking altogether. She would sit in her room, drawing the same thing over and over. A tall figure standing in a doorway, head bent sideways. She wouldn't let us take the drawings. She said it made him angry. My father finally agreed to move. We packed our things. The house seemed to breathe around us, walls groaning, floors creaking without anyone walking. But the night before we left, the power went out. The phones died. We couldn't leave. Not until morning. And that's when the screaming started. It came from the basement. It didn't stop for 6 hours. We stayed in the living room, huddled together, lights off, holding each other. When it finally went quiet, the house felt empty, too empty. When we opened the basement door, it was clean. No dust, no cobwebs, just a single toy, an old spinning top, slowly spinning in the center of the floor. We left the next morning, but the breathing followed me. Even now, in hotel rooms and apartments, I hear it in vents, in drains, in dreams. I never saw my sister again. She disappeared 2 weeks after we moved. My mother died last year. Her last words were, "She's in the garden again." I went back to the house last month, just to see. It's still empty, but the garden is full of holes, and the front door was open. Inside, nothing had changed. The furniture was gone, but the smell remained. That wet stone scent, that cold iron bite. I stood in the hallway, and the floorboards breathed beneath my feet. I heard the creak of the basement door opening behind me, but when I turned, it was closed. On the floor was another drawing, a child's hand, crumpled paper. It showed me, standing in the hallway, eyes black, mouth gone. I left. I drove 3 states away, but last night I found dirt on my bedroom floor, small footprints, scratches under the bed. I don't sleep anymore. I just wait and listen, because it's still breathing. And now it knows my name. The days blur now. I try not to remember everything, but something won't let me forget. I found the builder's name, Samuel Brecht, buried in a dusty file at the town library. The house was the only structure he ever built. He vanished a year later. No trace, no obituary, no descendants. But in a yellowed newspaper clipping from 1913, I read a quote from a neighbor. It said, "He said the ground spoke to him, told him where to dig." I copied it down. But the paper turned to ash in my hands. A retired priest I tracked down remembered something too. He said he had been called to the house once in 1962. A family had reported strange happenings. They all moved away, he told me, but one boy stayed behind. Said he couldn't leave until he'd put it back in the walls. The priest wouldn't elaborate. He refused to even name the boy. I asked if he thought the house was haunted. "No," he said, eyes cold. "It's hungry." I've since found recordings, tapes made by someone who lived there before us, maybe in the 70s. The audio is warped, but one thing is clear. I hear her singing in the crawl space. She's under the floor again. And then, I made the mistake of answering her once. Click. Silence. Some nights I wake with soil in my mouth. Other times I dream of staircases that go deeper than the earth should allow. Brick walls covered in fingernail scratches. The sound of knocking 4 times, always 4, and voices. You're back. We missed your skin. I found my sister's drawings again, hidden in my mother's attic after her funeral. One of them is a floor plan of the house, but it's wrong. There are rooms that never existed, doors behind closets, tunnels beneath the stairs. In the center of it all is a spiral. I started digging in the yard where my mother said the girl was. I hit something. It wasn't rock. It wasn't wood. It breathed. Now the lights in my apartment flicker like they did back then. The elevator in my building sometimes skips my floor. My neighbor says she sees someone pacing on my balcony at night. I live on the 12th floor. I don't have a balcony. Last week I got a call from an old landline. Static. Then a whisper. Put it back. The breathing has changed. It's faster, hungrier. Last night I found another drawing on my mirror in black marker. It showed me asleep and someone standing over me. The figure's head was bent sideways. Its fingers were in my mouth. I tried to scream, but only soil came out. There's something wrong with time in that house. I returned one final time. The town looked the same, but quieter, older somehow, like it was decaying under a fresh coat of paint. The neighbors barely remembered the house. One man said it was always empty, said no one had lived there since the war. He meant World War I. But I lived there. I had a sister. I remember her. Don't I? The key still worked. The doorknob was colder than the air. It resisted my hand just slightly, as if holding its breath. Inside, nothing had changed. Dust hung thick in the sunlight like cobwebs suspended in water. But the furniture was clean. The floors were polished. A plate sat on the kitchen table with a warm slice of bread, as though I had just stepped out for a moment. The mirrors were covered in sheets. I didn't cover them. I uncovered one. It showed the hallway, but not me. I walked to the basement. The door creaked open like a throat clearing. The steps downward felt like molars. Halfway down, I smelled copper and old firewood. Then something sweet, like rotting fruit left in a sealed jar. The basement had changed. The walls had been pushed back. The floor dug deeper. It spiraled down, carved into raw earth. The spiral my sister drew. The soil pulsed. I heard humming. It was the same melody she used to sing before bed. Down, always down. At the bottom was a wooden chair, a rope, a book bound in something too soft to be leather. The pages were filled with drawings of the house, over and over. But the windows had eyes, the stairs had teeth, the beds had mouths. The last page was blank, until I blinked. Then it held a name, mine. When I touched the page, I was no longer alone. A voice behind me said, "Now you remember?" I turned. There was no one, but the air was thicker, like syrup or blood. The floor moved beneath me, subtly, like something large breathing just beneath the surface. I heard crying from behind the walls. A child's voice, "Don't look at her face. That's how she gets in." The lights flickered. I didn't bring a flashlight. I didn't bring anything. I ran. I reached the front door, but it was gone. Just smooth wall now, no seams, no hinges. The house didn't want me to leave this time. It was remembering too. I found my mother's rocking chair upstairs, still warm. It started rocking when I sat across from it. Something whispered, "Did you bury her deep enough?" I screamed until my throat bled, but only silence answered. When I woke, I was outside, the house behind me. No footprints, no car, no memory of how I got there. Only a note in my pocket, written in my handwriting. "She's awake now." She knows your name. I live in a new apartment now, miles away, cameras in every room, but they go static every night at 3:17 a.m. Every single night. And in one frame, just one, the footage shows a hand reaching from under my bed. Long, pale, wrong. I sleep in the bathtub now, lights on, but I still hear the floor creak. She's patient. She waited for my mother, for my sister, for me. She'll wait for you. I found a photograph folded beneath the floorboards in my old bedroom. It was black and white, faded, curled at the edges. 5 people, a man, a woman, 2 children, and me. But I wasn't born yet. The date stamped on the back said 1948. I turned it over again. My face was exactly the same. Same eyes, same small scar above my left brow from falling off a bike at 9. I stared at it for hours. My hands trembled, but I couldn't stop looking. Eventually, I noticed something else. There was a figure at the window behind us, bent, blurred, head tilted at a wrong, aching angle. I checked every photograph I had from my childhood, family albums, school yearbooks, candid photos from birthdays and trips. She's in everyone, always in the background, sometimes just a sliver of her hand on the edge of the frame, sometimes full-bodied, standing among us, unnoticed. My parents are smiling in every photo, but now the smiles look forced, eyes hollow, tired, like they knew, like they were pretending for our sake. I think I was never supposed to leave, and every time I return to that house, every time I come back changed. I looked at myself in the mirror yesterday, and I noticed something that hadn't been there before, a small triangular birthmark under my rib. My sister had one just like it. I dreamed of her again, but she wasn't my sister anymore. She was part of the house. She whispered from the walls. She made us. She's making you now. My fingernails fall out sometimes, perfectly whole, clean, as if politely exiting. I haven't slept properly in months. Sometimes I wake up with my fingers digging into the wall. Sometimes there's blood, but not mine. I've started finding words scratched into the plaster behind paintings. They say things like, "Do not let her smile. She needs a face. Stop digging." One said simply, "You are the foundation." I don't know what that means. I don't want to know. But the floorboards creak now, even when I'm still. And once, just once, I heard a familiar voice say, "Welcome back." But it was my voice, from behind the mirror. I haven't left my apartment in 3 days. The city sounds strange now, distant, like I'm hearing it underwater. The air smells of the basement, rotting fruit, copper, earth. I keep dreaming of hallways that stretch forever, doors that don't open, windows with no outside. And somewhere deep beneath it all, a heartbeat, slow, patient, starving. I think it's mine. Last night I blacked out, not like sleep, not like fainting, just gone, as though someone paused me. When I came to, I was in the crawl space beneath my apartment, naked, covered in dirt. Something was clutched in my hand. It was a key, the same brass key from my childhood home. But I destroyed that key. I remember throwing it into the river. I remember watching it sink. Now it's back, cold, heavy, slightly wet. There was a note tied to it in dried sinew. The door was never yours to close. I've started hearing things through the walls. Laughter, then silence, weeping, then silence, then a knock, always at 4:07 a.m. I tried ignoring it. Then the knocking came from inside my closet, then under the bed, then from the mirror. My dreams are bleeding now. They drip into my waking life. I saw a child today playing near the bus stop. Her face, I knew it. My sister's face, but younger, fresh, as though she had never died, as though she never lived at all. She stared at me like she knew me, then mouthed, "She's under your skin now." I scratched my arm until I bled, and when I peeled away a layer of skin, something blinked beneath it. I think I screamed, but no one turned. Everyone on the street looked empty, hollowed, like props, like a stage. I'm not sure the world is real anymore. Maybe it never was. Maybe the house built all of it, a massive mind, and I may have thought it had once, and now refuses to forget. Sometimes I hear thunder and realize the sky is clear. Sometimes I feel rain, but there are no clouds. Last night I saw someone on my balcony, a tall, dark shape. No features, no motion, just standing, watching, for hours. When I turned away and looked back, it was inside, standing behind me. And when I blinked, I was outside again, on the front porch of the house, barefoot in winter. The door opened before I touched it. Inside, the house was breathing. The walls expanded and contracted with a rhythm that matched my pulse. Each step I took echoed like footsteps in a hospital hallway at night. I followed the sound of humming. Downstairs, always downstairs. The door to the basement was gone. Just a hole now, an open throat. I climbed in. The deeper I went, the warmer the air became. I heard my name whispered 1,000 ways. Some voices sounded like my mother, some like strangers, some like me. I saw rooms built from memory. My 6th birthday party, the hospital room where Dad died, my sister's last drawing, all wrong, slightly off, as if made from someone else's memory of mine. Then I saw her, not the woman, the thing behind the woman. It had no form, just the suggestion of limbs, the impression of watching eyes, the unbearable weight of attention. She said, "We are the house. We are always hungry." And I said, "Take me." But she only laughed. "You've been taken. Now give." My teeth fell out that night. All of them, one by one, gently. No blood. I found them arranged neatly on my pillow, in the shape of a spiral. I haven't left my room in 2 days. I think the hallway stretches further each time I open the door. And at the end of it, I see the front door of the house, no matter where I go, no matter how far. The house is always waiting. Do you want me to proceed and tell you what happens next? Let me know in the comments section if that's what you want. Subscribe and click on the notification bell for more stories like this.